Hi, Thirsty Friends. Today we're going to continue our studies of the brain. But first, let's review what we have learned about our brain. Remember, we have learned that our brain has parts, and each part has a different job. Remember that we created a body map using our hand to help us remember the important parts of our brain. Let's go back over our body map. Remember, you're going to want to make a fist around your thumb, and that is like your brain. What is this part of our brain? The largest part of our brain. Good, that's our cerebrum. Say that with me, cerebrum. Very good. In the back of our brain, we have another part right here. And do you remember what that's called? Cerebellum. So this is our cerebellum. We have cerebrum, cerebellum. Then at the front, where our forehead is, what's that called? Good, our prefrontal cortex. And if we open up our brain, we have the hippocampus. Let's say the hippocampus. And then at the end of the hippocampus, we have our amygdala. All right, let's do it all together. We have the cerebrum, the cerebellum, the prefrontal cortex, the hippocampus, and the amygdala. Now let's think back to what they do. So if we look at our brain picture, we have our cerebrum. And our cerebrum is where all the thinking happens. Then in our cerebellum, that is where our movements and muscles and balance and coordination are controlled. Our prefrontal cortex helps us make decisions and plans. Our hippocampus stores all of our memories, experiences, and anything that we've learned. It's like a big filing cabinet inside our heads. And then our amygdala in the hippocampus controls our emotions. Well, today, Thirsty Friends, we're going to talk a little bit more about how to grow our brain. So, we're going to hop back into our book, The Fantastic Elastic Brain, and we're going to think about all the different ways that we can grow our brain. How does the brain stretch and grow? A word that begins with neuro has something to do with the brain. A sculptor molds, shapes, or carves things out of clay, or wood, or stone. So, you shape your brain when you make it bigger by adding new things you know and can do. You are a neurosculptor. When you learn something new, you're building on what you've already learned. In the same way that muscles in your body work together when you want to lift a heavy object or kick a ball, the different parts of your brain work together when you're learning something new. The amygdala makes you want to learn the piano. The cerebrum helps you decide to practice. The cerebellum calls up the memory of watching and listening when your piano teacher showed you how to play a new piece of music. Then your cerebellum sends messages through neurons to the muscles in your wrists, hands, and fingers so that you can hit the right notes. The next time you play that piece of music, the parts of your brain and body will know how to work together, and you will play the song more easily. The brain that makes you, you, is an amazing organ. It controls what you think, do, feel, and remember. Your brain is growing very fast during your first 10 years of life, and now we know that you can help it grow. Listen for the ways that you can help grow. When you try hard to learn something new, connections grow from neurons and attach to other neurons. Then your brain can send messages faster, making part of your brain bigger and stronger. Making mistakes really helps you learn because your brain keeps trying new things and stretching until you figure out the answer to the problem. You are shaping a more elastic brain when you learn new things that build on what you already know. The more you learn and think about different kinds of things, the more you can learn, know, and enjoy. The harder you try without giving up, the more you will learn. You really can train your brain to be fit and strong and to keep stretching and growing throughout your whole life. So Firsty friends, we found out many different ways that we can grow our brains. What were some of the ways that we learned to grow our brains? Yes, when we try something new, we grow our brains. When we make mistakes, we grow our brains. And when we try lots of different kinds of things, we grow our brains. So Firsty friends, we're going to take what we've learned about the parts of the brain, and now we are going to create our own brains using things like Play-Doh or pictures. And then we're going to think of ways that we're going to grow our brains this year. Go to the next video to learn more about your activity and the directions on what you should do.